cipher for a whole series of ideas or complex of ideas. And it becomes a very quick way to say it, and it just falls into the discourse. And Longhouse is one of those memes that just fell into the discourse. And they understand that they are asking for the perennial eternal Longhouse. That's what they want. They want to essentially destroy masculinity, make sure it's completely contained and transmogrified into a kind of subservience. And that's what Lomas is identifying with the Longhouse, saying, look, this is they're actually trying to destroy your sons spiritually. This, and you might want to be aware of it, which is why the word Longhouse resonated. Yes, that is what feminism has been doing since forever. And no, that's not good. And no, nobody wants that for their own children, right? And so, what could they do? Well, all they could do is exposed. Okay, but he's not some sort of gross slob. Now what? just, it's so funny. I've got it's just genuinely funny how they can only make us look good. Like us, the online right, I guess, part of it, obviously. And then you get the mystics like Curtis Yarvin. Again, like I say, I like all of these people because they all bring something to the table that's genuinely interesting, right? And Curtis Yarvin says a lot of things that I don't particularly agree with. However, I enjoy hearing them say them, hearing him say them. And it's not that he isn't identifying something that is actually crucial. Like, for example, last year I went to Miami to a conservative conference, and Curtis was giving a talk there, and it was a really, really good talk. And he made a really, really incisive point. He said, look, the Republicans need to have a plan on how to actually own the libs, right? As in, it looks like Donald Trump is going to win power, and he did. And so you have to have a plan to deal with these people. You need to know what it is you're going to do to bring them on side, at least nominally, right? At least to the point where they will cooperate with the institutions and the new regime. So to understand that look, this is how things are going to be. And what's interesting is the approach that Trump and his administration have taken, which has just been shock and awe. We are just going to flex on them and press them down. Now, I actually don't think that's the wisest strategy in the long term. I think there are definitely exigencies that come from this that create problems further down the road, and I think there's a real chance of overreach with this kind of strategy. I would personally be as... I would definitely use the momentum that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are using in the right way. Definitely, I think they are doing the right thing by going through and just doing as much as they can. But maybe the Napoleon memes are a little bit too far. Maybe because I mean, like, and the throwing your heart out to people and stuff like this. Now, I'm not saying that Elon's a Nazi or anything like that. I'm just saying that there's a way of approaching this that doesn't scare the hose, and Trump and Elon and the rest seem to have lent into, look, we're just going to scare the hose, and that's great. Don't get me wrong, but that does have long-term consequences. And Curtis was warning about this. He was saying, look, you need to have a plan to essentially govern them as a kind of as a kind of ethnic constituency, in the same way that, like, the Russians have a plan to govern the Chechens. You know what I mean? Like, they're not really part of you, but they are under your command. So you have to have, like, a way of interfacing with that community which functions. And though we're only, probably coming to the fourth week of Trump's presidency now, so everything, and Trump, as Bannon pointed out, they're flooding the zone. So everything is going incredibly fast, so it's difficult for them to react. They will find their feet eventually, and having a plan ready for that would be good. It would be a good thing to do. But anyway, so Yarvin is, again, another one of these fascinating right-wingers who comes from the elite, and they know he comes from the elite. So when the New York Times does this, and these are just essentially puff pieces, they're probably not meant to be as complimentary as they are, but whenever you read these things, you say, Christ, that makes them sound legendary. Like, they make it sound like the right wing is full of the right wing equivalent of Karl Marx, right? All of these incisive intellectuals that have been stalking around the edges of the left-wing campfire and are now ready to pounce. And the left need to, oh God, we wake up to the scary right-winger who's about to come in and pop all of our bubbles about egalitarianism and liberalism and all these other things. And I love these articles. You can go through for just all of them and read them with two senses. There's the sense of, ooh, there's the scary man, you better be worried about him. Or there's the, ooh, there's the scary man, you better be worried about him. The kind of laundering of this as well into the mainstream is always a good thing. To make sure that people in the mainstream are well aware that, oh yes, the right has actually spent a lot of time in the intellectual proverbial wilderness when it comes to having their ideas being taken seriously by mainstream society. And that they can only be kept out for so long, right? And so the right has hardened itself, it's sharpened itself, and it has a much better understanding of leftism and liberalism than most leftists and liberals. Most leftists and liberals are very much sort of within the frame of the thing, and the right has been looking outside of the frame and all of the presuppositions and all the other connections around it for a long time now. And so the right has genuinely dozens of people who, if like someone came to me and said, Carl, we need someone to debate Noam Chomsky or whoever the current famous left-wing intellectual is, I honestly could pick probably about a dozen people off the top of my head to debate any left-wing intellectual at this point. I'd say, no, that person